Hi, everyone. I hope you guys are having an incredible day. Today is day 23 of our 30-day meditation challenge. I want to thank you so much for your patience over the past couple of days, having to switch things around in the calendar. And I'm really, really excited to be here. And today we are going to discuss suffering, avoiding emotional pain. And this is a topic that's been coming up a lot in sessions that I've done over the past week and over the past month, talking about what is suffering. What is that? How do we end up in a state of suffering? And what suffering really is trapped emotional energy, trapped life force within the body. How does it become trapped? It becomes trapped because in a moment of unknown, in a moment when we become shocked or we are experiencing trauma in which we don't know how to respond to, because there is a lack of connection between mind and body, there's a difficult time to process the true emotions that are being felt during that experience. And what happens is that over time, that emotion becomes trapped in the body. It's not addressed, it's not felt. And the majority of us, we spend a lot of time distracting, trying to distract away from those uncomfortable emotions that come up, those uncomfortable observations that we experience. And what ends up happening is that moving away, for example, by watching TV or by doing an activity or by, filling your life up with distractions in any way, it's moving away from what is truly occurring within the physical body. And this is one thing that we discussed in the first week when we talked about abandonment of the self. Are you guys not having enough volume? Let me check. Hold on. Are you guys hearing me okay? I show that we're okay. So can you guys tell me in the chat? Let's see. Are you guys hearing me? I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? Is it here or there? I'm not sure. All right. Love you guys. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. All right. So let's talk about it. So volume is fine. Okay, thank you so much, James. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So when we're discussing this kind of trauma, we tend to deflect away from what's actually causing us that emotion. Okay, so this is the thing. And so what happens is that it really causes a distraction, and we have to be really, really careful with how we're dealing with that. We have to be very careful with how we're dealing with those emotions. And so the funny thing is that actually distraction can work in many different ways. It's not just in our own personal life with our own personal emotions. It's something that we're kind of trained at a very early age to do because there isn't enough connection between mind, body, and awareness of the emotions that we're feeling, because it's not learned. There's no example of that process usually in our household where we take a moment to kind of review emotions or discuss the process of reviewing emotions. And I think that's something that's super important to do with children so that they understand that emotions have to be acknowledged, at the very least, acknowledged within the body. And that's the first step. But feeling them completely, observing them to understand how we store information in the body and also how information is expressed in the body. Because as you know, the emotions that arise are responses based on programming that we're receiving from cyclical ancestral programs that we're learning from our family circle, and also that are brought down generationally through our ancestral lineage. So as these kinds of emotions begin to come up, we can utilize this information to understand how to change perspective, how to heal the body, and many other side effects of becoming aware of the emotional processes and responses that we have. Now, another side of that is when we don't process these emotions, over time they become stored, and a lot of our attention, which is usually escaping in some ways, again, either by the entertainment or watching the news, a lot of times we actually become addicted to that constant state of trapped emotion. the addiction to a low vibration emotion, this stagnation within a feeling of being stuck or not able to move forward, becomes something that is not able to flush out of the energetic system. And it's also not something that we're able to process through the body. So this is really important, because if we continue to store that stagnation of emotion, this either turns into a lot of suppression of strong emotions, number one, which then turn into illnesses or body aches and pains. And if we look at our society today, if we take a look at, the majority of our fellow family and friends, uh, the pharmaceutical industry is really, one of the largest industries in the world for a reason. Number one, because of the programming that's put in subliminally in many different ways through films, entertainment, and media and commercials that, especially in America, are just pretty continuously brought on, not only the pharmaceuticals, but also the side effects of those pharmaceuticals, which are encoded with many different patterns of information that our body absorbs as not being safe, of lacking the ability to control or have any kind of mastery of well-being over the physical body. And over time, it deteriorates the trust that we have and the connection that we have over the physical body. In addition to that, we see films, and in films, unfortunately, we learn perhaps the poorest way of self-observation. It's a complete, through the examples of the characters within these films or TV shows, it's portrayed a certain way of being, a certain way of living, a certain way of interacting. And all of those are based on, again, these programs that we are indoctrinated at a very early age, and they are suppressed and really drilled into the subconscious mind. And we don't understand how they affect us, but the truth is that they really affect us because they form belief systems within us that are really hard to break, because at the core we truly believe them, and we don't even understand why we believe them. So they become a part of who we are. They become our personality, and it becomes our identity and how we are expressing ourselves. So this is something that, is a part of this process of suffering, because it plays a huge role in the disconnect between the mind and body, between what's happening in the present moment, and allows a gateway for us to uh, distract and escape into these imaginary worlds, whatever it may be. And the last part of that I wanted to mention is the news, for example, which is maintaining a constant state of helplessness, fear, anger. They are constantly designed to make you feel these kinds of strong emotions. And what happens with that is when you start to see the violence or the injustice or the things that are happening in the world, we immediately want to react to that. We become very emotional. We become we feel very helpless. We believe that we are helpless. And the way the words that are spoken in these shows are continuously putting into the mind that we have no ability or control over the emotional state of ourselves or communities or societies. So this is something that we want to take a step back and really understand, because all of these programmings play a role in how we feel about ourselves. And we don't realize that until you begin to kind of look at why we feel the way we do. But of course, the most profound programming comes from our families. Let's say you don't watch any entertainment of any kind of music or influence of any kind. Your immediate influence and programs are going to come from your family and the cyclical patterns of those experiences. And when we're children, a lot of times we are told, if you're crying, don't cry, or don't make a scene, or don't respond like that, or don't act. And so a lot of times we're taught at a very early age to suppress emotions, or to feel shame for feeling certain things. And we talked about shame the other day, how damaging that can be. But when you begin to feel shame about natural expressions of yourself as a human, this can be very destructive and very blocking for you as a creative, right? Because we are here to create. So what happens is all of these things begin to pile up in the suppression of emotions, and the trapped energy, this trapped life force within the body, over time begins to stagnate. And the stagnation of that life force, again, changes your frequency into a resonance that speaks the language of what is most stagnant within your multidimensional body. So the idea is to begin to move through, and all of these things are a creation. What is most true is what is occurring here in this present moment. In this present moment. And in the present moment, every emotion that you begin to feel needs to be acknowledged, observed in its full expression in order for you to begin to release. The more that you sit with these uncomfortable emotions of what causes us suffering, we begin to understand suffering. We begin to understand what causes us disharmony internally. We begin to understand our needs, and we begin to understand through that process others and tune into compassion. And compassion is really the key, the liberation of moving out of that suffering. And before you even look and feel compassionate for someone else, this whole entire process of observation will allow you to become compassionate of yourself, most importantly. And that compassion of yourself is really the key to beginning to change in your life. Okay, so how can we begin to kind of feel this compassion in a way that assists us in the healing process of suffering? The thing is to understand that every single emotion that you feel affects us in a biochemical, energetic, electric way in the physical body. And if we understand the amount of damage, all of these mechanics that we're talking about, when we store information, negative charge in the body over time creates an imbalance in the system. We have lots of chemicals running in the body that are disruptive to the harmony of the homeostasis in the physical body. So, peace and harmony internally means a really vital generation of life force. Destruction, anger, self-rejection, all of these plethora of emotions that cause destruction to the self are something that take the body out of balance and take it into this negative spiral again. So this suffering that is a result of these thought forms that are based on not full truths, right? They're one perspective, one experience, but not having the time to see all possible aspects of this emotion creates trapped scenarios of experience within the body. And so we need to be able to move through this. And how we move through that is by sitting with that suffering, sitting with the suffering and observing it. And as you begin to observe and have these emotions of, awareness of what is causing you the suffering, and looking at that, observing what is causing that suffering, emotions that begin to arise, you can easily learn how to feel and be more at ease with this strong emotion. And the compassion that you feel towards yourself will aid you in every moment that you begin to go back into that suffering, to begin to feel compassion for this body, so much so that you don't want the body to experience suffering consistently. Now, people that are stuck in states of suffering are counter spinning vortices, eventually turn into parasitic exchanges with their environment, because in a way it becomes like a black light force, black hole. The black hole is spinning, which attracts, it pulls in with it. And so it'll create this constant drainage of life force. We cannot sustain life force in the body when we are in a constant state of suffering. It'll deplete. And depending on the layers of the belief systems of suffering, different parts of your body will go out of balance. So we can rebalance that by addressing the core issue. So in today's meditation, we are going to talk about suffering, and we're going to look at the suffering that we're feeling in the body, and we're going to release that. We're going to release that, okay? And through that process of releasing that suffering in the physical body, begin to notice any shifts and changes physically that you might feel in the body. If you're someone that has discomfort in the physical body, like aches and pains, I suggest to start there, because as you know, pain is stagnation of life force. Pain is a complete imbalance within that meridian system because of stagnant life force in the body. And it's multidimensional. So it's in many layers of the body. So we're going to sit and we're going to take a look at some of that information. All right. So let's get started. I want you all to inhale deeply. With every breath you take, as you allow yourself to ground down to the center of the earth. Take a moment to sit absolutely still, reconnecting with your physical body. Inhaling deeply and exhaling. And with every breath you take, you can allow yourself to bring yourself back to a state of observation. Go ahead and allow yourself to observe the body. How is your body doing today? Notice any discomfort within the body. Breathing deeply. And as you connect with the physical body, as you allow yourself to breathe in this state of meditation, we're going to do a body scan beginning at the toes, going up into the ankles, into the shins, the calves, the knees, and just scanning the body for parts of us that feel more tense. Breathing deeply. Going up into the hips now, into the solar plexus, noticing any tension in the solar plexus as you go up into the chest. Breathing deeply, feeling the oxygen entering and leaving the body. Going up into the shoulders, into the arms, into the legs, into the hands. Breathing deeply. Going up into the neck, into the face. With every breath you take, as you allow yourself to go deeper and deeper into a state of complete relaxation. Breathing deeply. And with every breath you take, We're going to go up into the neck, into the head, into the face. Relaxing your body. Bringing the body into a state of relaxation. Now that you're here, I want you to begin to go deeper. As you begin to ground yourself down to the center of the earth, creating a cord that connects your body down to the center core. Go ahead and visualize a field around your body. A field all around you. And this field that you see around you is going to protect you. I want you to create a field that's made out of something completely impenetrable. Go ahead and visualize the field around you. Every breath you take. And as you allow this field around you to become completely solidified, go ahead and visualize closing any kind of openings, any tears that are in your field with every breath you take. Breathing deeply. From the center of the earth, you're going to visualize a powerful green life force rushing up into the body, creating a vortex of life force. Go ahead and visualize this vortex of life force all around your multidimensional body. And as it spins around you, it begins to clear any kind of debris that we might have in the field. Okay, we're going to go from the universe, from source. Go ahead and visualize source coming down, combining with that earth energy. Focus on moving this life force through your body as you're mixing source energy and earth energy all around you. Go ahead and visualize this green and gold energy beginning to ground down to the center of the earth again. You're going to take 80% of that combination, shoot it up your spine, creating a fountain, coating the outside of your protective field with this color, green and gold, coating the outside of your protective field. Breathing deeply. As you visualize this, begin to call back fragments of yourself over the past 3-4 days. Go ahead and visualize any parts of you that have been fragmented, people, places, and things. Call them back into your life force, all of your life force back into your body. Gently bringing it back and letting go of anything that doesn't serve you anymore. Breathing deeply. As you allow yourself to move this energy, we're going to take that final 10%. You're going to bring it into the body now. Go ahead and bring that green and gold energy into the body, healing your body, regenerating, rejuvenating, re-energizing. Heal your body. You have the power to heal your own body. So go ahead and bring that cosmic and earth life force into your body as it begins to absorb into the pores, into the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level. Healing, repairing, restoring. And anything that doesn't belong, any discomfort, any pain, any kind of thought forms, patterns that we no longer want to hold on to, we're just going to let that all go. Let it all go. Breathing deeply. Very good. So now that you're here, I want you to begin to review. What are some of the things that bring you suffering? Go ahead and tune in, just observing yourself over the past week, over the past month, at anything that has caused you suffering. Take a look at that. As you begin to observe these experiences, I want you to see yourself in these experiences. I want you to watch others responding to you in these experiences. As you observe these experiences, begin to notice the things that cause suffering. Parts of you that feel trapped, helpless in situations. Take a look at that. Go back to the past month. Any parts of you that have felt suffering over the past 30 days. Thoughts, emotions. Breathing deeply. And as you begin to review these scenarios, I want you to tune into yourself and watch yourself in these experiences. Notice the reactions that you're having, the physical response that suffering causes in your body. The emotional response that suffering causes in your body. What's happening there? Observe yourself. Breathing deeply. And as you begin to notice the parts of you that have felt this suffering, I want you to see how you store this suffering within your body. Go ahead and find where in your body you store this suffering. And just observing the kind of choices in life that we make in order to avoid feeling this. Avoid these emotions. Go ahead and tune in to the part of the body that stands out the most for you in that discomfort. And you're going to feel that discomfort, that part of your body. As you begin to observe any discomfort that you feel, where in the body are you feeling it? Take a look at that. Connect with your body. Connect with the memories that are trapped within the muscles, within every cell of your body. The body is a network of information. And within the body lies a library of everything that we've experienced in every timeline. Everything that we are experiencing and have experienced. So as you breathe deeply, allow yourself to connect with the information that is available for you through the sensations of your senses. Some of you might see, some of you might feel, some of you might sense. So I want you to really connect with this communication that is available to you through your body. And as you begin to narrow into the parts of the body that are storing this information for you, I want you to sit very still, observing these parts of the body. You're going to take all your attention to those parts of your body. And as you stay absolutely still with these parts of the body, begin to notice the emotions that come up. I want you to feel into that suffering. And as you feel that suffering and stay absolutely present with that suffering, go ahead and notice the emotions that come up, and you're going to name them out. You're going to notice that as you begin to name out these emotions, the sensations in the body also begin to shift. Pressure releases with every emotion that you identify, because you've acknowledged it, and the moment that you acknowledge it, the charge of that frequency begins to change from a negative charge. It rises up to a positive charge because it's been acknowledged. So as you gently acknowledge these emotions within the body, you are expanding and releasing them from the tension of that physical part of you. So go ahead and continue and observe the different parts of the body that are holding on to suffering in the body, parts that we've neglected, that we've avoided. Breathing deeply. You'll notice that your body begins to readjust. The muscles begin to adjust. The bones begin to adjust. I want you to select of those emotions, which one is the strongest that stands out the most for you. Go ahead and notice that. From all the emotions that you have acknowledged that are trapped inside of the suffering, what is the emotion that stands out the most for you? Breathing deeply. Okay, so now that you've identified that emotion, I want you to scan your body. And you're going to go to the part of the body that is storing this emotion now. Go ahead and take yourself there. Breathing deeply. Focusing on your body. Focusing on what you're discovering. Breathing deeply. And as you allow yourself to find that emotion now, I want you to sit with it for a moment. You'll notice that you have a lot of emotions that start to come up. I turned off the video so that we can focus on the meditation. So please get comfortable and allow yourself to go inside. As you begin to sit with this next emotion, you'll notice that you have a lot of thoughts that run through the mind, scenarios and events that connect to this emotion. Go ahead and sit with that emotion. Be absolutely present. And oftentimes this emotion will become very strong. And you're going to breathe through it and allow yourself to experience the emotion, its total, run its complete course as you observe it. Oftentimes that feels like discomfort in the body. Oftentimes that feels like pressure or muscles twitching or bones adjusting in the body. This is how powerful emotions are. They can change your life. And the more you learn how to utilize your emotions, the more you will have mastery over your everyday experience. So as you allow this emotion to just run its course, as you have all the thoughts, as you observe the thoughts that begin to arise, go ahead and take yourself to the memory that comes up the most. What memory comes up the most when you feel this emotion in your life? I want you to take yourself back to the very first time that you felt this emotion. Breathing deeply. You might notice many memories coming up. You might notice one, but what they have in common is this emotion. Some of you might have noticed that you felt this emotion your entire life.
It might be something that is lingering in the background always, underneath joy, underneath love, underneath fear. Okay, so this is a key right here that you just discovered about yourself. And we become enslaved to this emotion because it becomes the subconscious directory. The subconscious mind begins to act upon this belief system. So as you take yourself back to the very first time that you felt this emotion, go ahead and observe yourself in that moment. Once again, watch yourself and connect with the body of that past self. Notice what they're feeling in that moment. Notice their emotions that are being triggered by this scenario, by this event. And as you observe, notice what is it that you need in that moment. Observe yourself. Are you needing something from others? Are you needing something from yourself? What do you need? Notice all of the new belief systems that begin to arise. Beliefs that we have about ourselves, beliefs that we have about others. Take your time and gently observe without judgment. Once again, we're in a state of absolute neutral observation. We are visiting our past self in this experience in order to learn about ourselves. And as you begin to notice all of these thought forms, they usually end up in feelings of overwhelm and helplessness. Oftentimes, there are so many feelings and emotions that because we don't take time to observe them, they feel overwhelming. And so we need to sit with each one of these until we learn to become familiar with our emotions. So as you begin to observe all of these thought forms, I want you to ask yourself, what is it that you need in order to no longer feel this feeling of suffering? What kinds of activities do you do throughout your day in order to avoid feeling this emotion? And just notice how much of your life is spent avoiding this emotion, this experience. And at the same time, does it seem to cause this experience to happen over and over again, leading us in the opposite direction? Take a look at that. Now that you have seen this, I want you to see all of the fragments of yourself from your entire life that have felt this way. You're going to surround them in a golden field field of light. That's a golden bubble of light or a sphere of light. And you're going to allow them to begin to receive all that they required in order to no longer feel this emotion. And as they begin to accept, absorb, they begin to change. You notice they begin to heal. Parts of them begin to feel more complete, more whole. Observing. With every breath you take, and just begin to observe now, as you have learned so much from your own suffering. Notice the patterns within your family of suffering. Where did we learn to suffer? Take a look at that. Does it go down your mother's lineage, your father's lineage, both? And as you observe the generations of ancestors that begin to come forth, that have been holding these programs of suffering, begin to notice the cyclical patterns of avoidance of emotions, of truth, of vulnerability that has been passed down the generations. And just gently observing how it has affected, formed, created the ideas of life, of joy, of happiness, of freedom, of abundance in our family, our partners perhaps, their family. Notice how we pass it down to the next generation with our actions, how we deal with suffering. We are teaching our children to deal with that suffering. If you are around children, just observe for a moment. As you begin to scan all of these potential timelines that descend from these experiences. And you might also notice at the same time illnesses that are running in the family, how they connect to the suppression or avoidance of emotions, of suffering. Just observe. So as you begin to see all of the generations, what is it that they require in order to no longer suffer this way? Go ahead and provide them what that is. It's encoded inside a frequency, a color of a frequency that you will bring down from source, and you will allow each one of these ancestors to begin to absorb that information. You are providing this information. Remember that our ancestors in our healing work are fragments of our own self. So when we heal others. When we heal our suffering, we begin to shift the suffering of others just by that change and shift in ourselves. So as you begin to allow all these fragments of yourself to absorb what is needed, I want you to visualize the cord that connects you to all of them in your body. These cords are usually connected to parts of the body that experience discomfort that are storing this suffering within the body. Usually it's where you started in the beginning. So go ahead and scan the body. And you're going to gently visualize releasing out of your body those cords, neutralizing these programs of suffering that we attach to, that we identify ourselves as. With every breath you take, let it go. And you're going to inhale deeply, taking back your life force from your ancestors, and release anything that you took on from them that you don't need to take on now, as survival, as protection, as avoidance. Go ahead and let that go. Breathing deeply. So as you begin to shift your attention now at the agreements and the contractual experiential agreements that we have made in many lifetimes before entering this one, experiences to suffer, to learn through suffering, to learn through limiting belief systems. I want you to see these contracts in front of you. Allow yourself to observe these contracts in front of you. And if you feel that you're ready to let go of those agreements in your life, go ahead and make the commitment to yourself that you are dissolving these contracts today. You're going to visualize clearing those contracts out of your space completely. This intention alone begins to work with the cells of the body, begins to work with your crown chakra, because the crown is manifestation and creation. And if we shift the crown into a very clear intention, then it changes what we're projecting into our reality. So as you dissolve these contracts with your crown chakra, go ahead and inhale deeply and exhale. And I want you to go back now to your fragments that we're healing. Yourselves, all the selves that have experienced these feelings of fragmentation, separation, avoidance in states of suffering. And as you see these fragments of yourself healed now, you're going to merge them into one version of yourself, the integration of all these aspects of yourself. Breathing deeply, taking your time. And just connecting with this part of you that is completely integrated into the whole. Go ahead and check with this part of you, this new reflection of yourself. Is there anything else that they need in order to no longer suffer? Is there anything else? Go ahead and take a look at that. And allow yourself to provide anything else that is missing, that is needed from this self in order to realize itself into its full potential, into its freer version of itself, a more neutral, observant self. Very good. So as you begin to see this part of yourself now, you're going to inhale deeply and call him back into your body, breathing deeply. Now, as you integrate all of these parts of yourself into your body, you're going to direct this healing aspect of yourself into the parts of the body that need more attention, more healing. With every breath you take, breathing deeply. And as you're here, I want you to begin to work with the root chakra at the base of the spine. Go ahead and visualize spinning that chakra as fast as possible. And you're going to start working with the first layer of your body. Go ahead and scan the first layer of your body, your first chakra, eliminating any thought forms, any subconscious belief systems around suffering that are still lingering in our body, starting at the root. You're just going to visualize clearing that root chakra. Going up into the sacral now. Go ahead and spin that chakra as fast as possible, clearing out any kind of debris in the sacral chakra. Go up into the solar plexus now. Balance that chakra and spin the chakra, clearing it out of any debris in the third layer of your body. And you're going to go up into the heart now, clearing the heart chakra, clearing the throat chakra, clearing the third eye, going up into the crown, activating the crown, filling your crown with your creative color. Okay, you're going to go up into your seventh chakra, activate the seventh, activate the eighth, activate the ninth, activate the 10th. Breathing deeply. Activate the 11th. Activate the 12th. Activate the 13th. And above you is a powerful white light of source. Go ahead and see that source light. Visualize bringing that source light down into your body. And as you bring it down into the body, it begins to heal, supporting the body. Any kinds of ailments, blockages, attachments, fears, anxieties, angers, doubts. As you anchor that white light down into the center of the earth with every breath you take, allow yourself to breathe deeply, bringing it back, taking your attention back into the body. Very good. And as you bring yourself back into the room, go ahead and open your eyes. You guys did amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this meditation. If you guys have any questions, please put it down in the chat below. I'm actually going to come over here to the chat and let me see if there are any questions that I can help answer. And we'll go. Jamak, so good to see you. Future Whale, good evening. Divine Love, hello. Yogametry, hello. Truth Seeker, hello. Discog, so great to see you. Miss Scarlett, so wonderful to see you. Jason, Mama Ren, so lovely to see you. Cedric, so great. Luana,
James, you guys are so amazing. Alexander, thank you for being here. Very good. So Susie O'Hara, hello. Thank you. Thank you. So many of you beautiful people here meditating with us today. I want to thank you for joining us and for doing this work. Dave, thank you so much. Spaced Out Radio. I hope you guys tuned in last night to our show. It was really fun. So definitely check out the replay on his channel, Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for that super chat. Love you, Dave. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Truth Seeker. Thank you so much for all that you do. Love from a fellow hybrid mother and content creator. So great to see you. Welcome. Truth Seeker, I have been that way most of my life. Love white noise or something in the background. I need to change. Good to know. Excellent, my love. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so let me take a look at these questions. Let's see. Accidental Protege, thank you for joining us, even for that quick moment. Pono says, but child's minds have the most wisdom of what is nature. Helps adult realize how programmed they are by the system. Yes, that's correct, Pono. Absolutely right. Blanca Iris says, hi, Geraldine. If I'm seeing and experiencing more similarities and patterns during dream state, does that mean that I'm integrating realities or aspects of myself? More similarities and patterns. Yeah, so what happens in dream times a lot of times is that we're venting out things that we experience during the day. And in addition to experiencing and doing the things that we're not doing in waking state. So really pay attention to those dreams that you're having. What are the patterns that are showing up in the dream state? It doesn't mean that you're integrating yet. It means that you're becoming aware of patterns in order for you to integrate them. So I would really pay attention to what are those similarities? What are those patterns that are coming up? There's a lot of information there for you that you can work with and to begin to see if you can reintegrate. My suggestion to you, especially where you're at, Blanca, because it sounds like you're really waking up your awareness and becoming lucid in dream time, is that you, as you observe those patterns every morning, sit in meditation with the feelings, the overall feeling of the dream, and begin to work with that. Follow that down the rabbit hole and see what comes up. And the patterns as well. The patterns will give you thought forms, specific thought forms or specific emotions that are filled with information that you can work with. So go ahead and use those as well. Thank you so much for that question, Blanca. Cold Canyon Productions, so wonderful to see you. Welcome. Inherent emotions are interesting. Yes, they are. All right. You guys, love you so much. Larry A, welcome. Were you able to see what you needed to see? Let me know. Gen Z, you're a victim to your own perception. Yeah, that's true. Marilena, good morning. John Shane, these are difficult issues, yet much needed to address. Yes, they are. Please sit with the information like we did today. Larry says, thank you for teaching me how to meditate, Geraldine. You saved my life. Thank you, Larry. I'm so glad that you're meditating. And yes, it is a lifesaver. It saved mine as well. Heart Traveler, thank you, Geraldine. Discog, gratitude. Alexander, very healing. What does heavy inflammation and discomfort in the hips and lower back spine usually deal with? Lower inflammation, what could that be? It depends what side of your back is affected, number one. Number two, usually lower back issues have to do with feeling unsupported, feeling not protected, alone, abandoned. These kinds of emotions usually come up. I've been hearing that a lot lately, Alexander. Jeremy says, hey, Geraldine, love you too. Love, love, love. What types of diet do you recommend as we commit to this work? As I mentioned in some videos previously, I am not one to promote diets necessarily because I feel that when you meditate and address the emotional issues, naturally you're going to gravitate towards different kinds of foods. Naturally, the way that you eat will change because a lot of our eating patterns are based on stored emotional trauma that we haven't addressed, emotions that are suppressed, avoiding emotions. Actually, a lot of our eating habits are to eat. And when we eat, we feel those sensations, and they help us create those wonderful happy chemicals in the body that, they're a temporary fix, but not long term. The problem is that we turn to them, and then we start, overeating or eating lots of sugars and sugar is the number one. And this is also another reason why, big pharma is working in our world today, because sugar has been injected into so many foods. If you're on a sugar diet, you'll realize that. And I do suggest people do try to do a sugar detox. That's the one thing I will say, definitely do a sugar detox, because sugar is a drug, it's a stimulant, and it completely changes the chemistry in the body. We become addicted to it, it affects our biome, and it really just derails us from true emotions, actually, because the biome becomes filled with parasites, and parasites can even trigger certain emotions in you in order to want to eat certain sweet things, believe it or not. Sometimes if we have a lot of parasites, it's going to create feelings of depression, feelings of helplessness, feelings of heavy emotions. And they're not make-believe emotions. It's utilizing data that it already has in the body. We already have that emotion. So because we're used to feeling it, it utilizes that to get what it needs in order to be felt, to be fed. And parasites are very interesting. If you go into a detox and you start feeling those strong emotions, a lot of times it's because it's the parasites that are triggering those emotions, because it knows that in the past, when you felt that emotion, you quickly went to get that yummy cookie or that dessert or whatever it is. So that's the kind of thing that really affects the physical body. Yeah, so that's what I suggest for a diet. And on the other side of that, in my personal journey, I just noticed that I gravitated more towards a healthier, vibrant rainbow diet. I wanted more of a rainbow. Before, I was eating more brown food, like everything was like, carbs, rice, all these brown foods. And then I started going to more rainbow, wanting to eat the rainbow. And remember that food is frequency. It's based on the color, is nourishing the frequencies of the body. So the more rainbow foods you eat, the more nourishing it is for your body. And make sure that you're balancing your proteins and making sure that you're nourishing the body in that way. But the most important diet is unconditional love. Okay. If you embody unconditional love, your body will come to its perfect homeostasis, and that's what we want, more importantly. Mama Ren says, I was working on releasing these sorrows this morning in meditation. I'm blessed to have your help tonight. That's amazing, Mama Ren. You got the memo. I also totally have been feeling this, and it's been coming up for like the past couple of weeks for my clients as well. Is ascension problems real? I have been feeling terrible, as well as a lot of other people I know. I think that globally right now we're dealing with a lot of stuff. Okay, first of all, there is a vibrational shift in the collective, and there's an artificial influence in that shift, that it's utilizing celestial opportunities, such as alignments of planets, over the past week, that have opened up gateways of life force into the earth realm. And the utilization and the manipulation of that life force has been utilized by artificial means terrestrially. Okay. And when that happens, the global situation, the global emotional state of most people get affected. So again, this can happen anytime, and it can also not happen. But the thing is, why I say that is that it doesn't matter what's happening externally. It all depends on our use of our emotions and the allocation of our life force. If we know how to own our space It doesn't matter what's happening outside. We maintain the harmony and balance within the body. This is the transcending of the matrix. This is where we want to reach. If we are hooked up to the system, connected through technology and media, of course, our life force will be drained. It'll be very easily to manipulate and stimulate specific emotions in the body. And that's the problem with mass mind control. We are a product of mass mind control, and it's something that happens a lot. So we need to be very mindful of that and work with that. Okay. So, and to answer the question directly, ascension problems, I mean, what do we talk, what, having trouble seeing truth? Ascension is growth. Ascension is becoming light, which means that you're able to see the truth without fear. So, you know, and why is that? Because ascension is the heightening of your vibrational frequency. You are shifting from a low density to a high density, rapid rate of movement, oscillations of your cells, the spinning of your vortex is moving faster. You're coming into a state of bliss, and a state of co-creation, unconditional love. That's ascension. Okay, so what would cause that problems are limiting belief systems and programs that counteract with the flow of your higher state of life force. And that's something that's in the mind. It's a sickness of the mind in a way. It's a blockage of the mind that is imposed, you know, by our beliefs. So it's an illusion that we have to break. It's a program that we have to break. Be careful to get stuck on programs that don't help us. You know, if we get stuck on, oh, I don't want to get ascension symptoms or ascension problems or side effects, that can cause a subconscious block for us. You got to let go of all of that. What it comes down to is owning your space, becoming a sovereign master of your vessel, because this is where all of that distraction ends, and you come into your superpower as a creator. That's really important. Mike Subzakemis. Sorry, I probably said that completely wrong, Mike. Hello. Do you have an opinion on the Merkaba meditation? Do I imagine myself in pyramids counter-rotating? Well, there's so many different kinds of Merkaba meditations. I identified Merkaba as the Merkaba in my meditation by learning what my multidimensional body looked like, but I didn't associate it with a Merkaba yet until I understood the geometry of the physical body. What we want to learn through the observation and exploration of our multidimensional bodies is that we are a vortex, we are a portal, and the portals of the body create these pyramid-like geometric shapes within the body. The spin is what we need to focus on. Are we spinning? Or are we not spinning? If we're not spinning, you're not going to have a Merkaba. A Merkaba is kind of like the side effect of your ability to master the life force movement through your body. So my opinion is focus on deprogramming limiting belief systems, emotional belief systems that don't allow you to enter into higher states of frequency, into bliss. The bliss state and unconditional love truly, authentically, is the way to embody those kinds of special geometric expressions. And although they're inherent to us, we're not going to be accessing or being able to see them if we don't deprogram, if we don't cultivate the connection with the mind body, if we don't access the intuitive tools that we have. And that should be priority. We should focus on that. I do utilize visualization and imagination. It is the connection between the non-physical and the physical. But I'm not a fan of just creating visuals. We're using our intuition and reading our space. We're not just making them up. We are reading our space. So this takes time. We all have the capacity of seeing this geometry, seeing the different layers of the body, working with the life force. But this is a process that we need to work towards. And we reach those states of visualization through the cultivation and activation of our intuition. So we want to practice that intuition as much as possible so that we can see what's real to us. The reason why I'm saying that is because I see a lot of people just read things and then they're like, oh, yes, this is true. How do you know? Did you meditate? Did you experience that in your meditation? Unless you experience that in your meditation, don't take it as truth. Not even what I say, you should take it as truth unless you experience that in your meditation. All of these things are guidelines to help you, but the most empowering thing for every human is for them to go through their internal journey, their ascension, their individual ascension, and depend on your internal exploration in order to find what's true for you. So thank you so much for that question. Blanca Iris, thank you. Monique, thank you. Thank you, Jay Zen. Thank you so much. Pono, I'm glad you could focus, Pono. Also, what kind of exercise or practice you recommend for lucid dreaming apart from meditation? What worked for you? Thank you, love you, Blanca. What worked for me I have a whole video on lucid dreaming, actually. I would love for you to check out. I'll put it in the messages below so you guys can check that out. But there's many techniques, okay? Becoming presently aware in my everyday life was the most powerful because I noticed that because I did it so much, it bled into my dream state. And then there's techniques for when you are in dream state, waking up, for example, putting your alarm clock at like 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning, and then waking up, maybe getting some water or going to the restroom or walking for a minute, and then coming back and falling back asleep. Your brain, because that REM was interrupted, as soon as you're coming back, it's very easy to go into a lucid dream. Easier for most people, and then navigate from there. And you will train yourself in the dream to become aware. So before you go to sleep, you're going to set the intention, I'm going to be aware in my dreams. I'm going to be conscious in my dream state. I have ability to master and to become aware of in that dream state. So just put that in your subconscious mind and repeat that constantly so that by the time you go to sleep, also throughout your day, be conscious, be aware, and say, I'm awake, I'm awake, I'm awake in this moment, I'm awake, I'm awake. By the time you go to sleep, you're going to be also awake in your dream state. You're going to repeat that in your mind. It's just like when you go swimming, when you swim all day, you have the memory of swimming. When you go to sleep, when you go to bed, you have the sensation that you're still in the water, you're still swimming because, your muscles have memorized that movement. So this is what we're doing for the whole body in terms of going into these subconscious states. Okay, so those are just a couple little tips, but you can check out that video that I have. It's pretty good. There's lots of data there. RR2, hello. Take note. Let me see. Hold on. Did I miss any questions? Also, what kind of exercise practice? Take notes of dreams and logs now. CERN is up and running. Right. And that's what I was referring to earlier. Greg Herrera, hi Geraldine, got here late. Welcome, Greg, so good to see you. JF, hi Geraldine, speaking of gateways, I heard that 7-7 is a Sirius gate portal and 8-8 is a Lion Gates portal. What meditations do you recommend to do activations during these periods? Totally, and we will do, yeah, tomorrow we do have a big day for that meditation and we will be accessing some of that. We're gonna focus on the genetic data that is provided to us by these Syrian frequencies. That's what we're going to focus on, activating our genetic aspects of the frequencies that are available to us through there. So, we can go down the list of that, but I'll post on that for tomorrow. Pono says, taste the rainbow, yeah. Very good. So Geraldine, what food would you suggest to go eat with all this work? Perhaps we can have. I just answered that, my love. Let me know what you think about my answers. Jason. Geraldine, do you have a book that describes her teachings in case the videos disappear. I don't have a book. I'm working on that book, and I am going to write. I'm in the process of writing several different books, and one of them is going to focus on healing techniques and meditation. So that is coming. So thank you for that. I started curbing my sweet tooth. Awesome. Better to receive. All right, my loves. Thank you so much for joining me. Um, Thank you, Alexander, for posting that down there. I really appreciate that. I love you guys so much. Please have an incredible night, and I will see you tomorrow. Love you.